how's it going? In the last video I posted, you learned how our two fastest amateur racers, Luke Fausier and Gavin Towers, were practicing sections last summer in 2019. This video was filmed in April of 2020 during the COVID-19 virus pandemic. That's almost a year after that last video was filmed. I thought you'd like to know how Luke and Gavin have been doing. And as you will see, even these two top amateur racers still practice the basics.
Are
you gonna ride in that shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
I know. Max blasted me the other day. And it's the only sweatshirt I like to ride in because I don't like to ruin all my sweatshirts. And the other day it was right before where the tabletop extension used to be.
Yeah.
A little tabletop. So there, the outside had a little bit of a puddle and the inside had a little bit of a puddle. We had the inside pretty much blown out and I was going on the inside of him. And he slid the back end and then it caught and went back this way and and he kept it on and just covered me like this. Before I washed it, it was covered. You couldn't even see my number.
So Luke, what did you guys do yesterday?
Yesterday we did some motos, so today we're going to work on some drills and technique stuff.
I mean, obviously you know how to do all the proper riding techniques. Why do you still have to do practice drills?
Because you got to get used to them so you're good at them whenever you get to the track, so you can go good.
So under different conditions and stuff, you just automatically do everything correctly, right?
Yep.
So it's more or less like sharpening your skills that you use all the time, correct?
Exactly.
So Gavin,
Yep.
what did you guys do yesterday in your riding?
Yesterday we started out with a quick little warm-up, about 7-8 minutes, and then came back, filled up, and then did a 15-minute moto. So it went Max, Luke, then I, and then the second moto, we did another 15-minute moto, and it went me, Luke, and then Max. So,
And
pretty
then,
good day yesterday.
then you worked out in the gym pretty hard too yesterday, huh? After that.
Yeah, we went down to Gary's basement and did a nice little workout, about 45 minutes to an hour, some strength training and a little bit of warm-up cardio and ending cardio.
And why do you feel that it's important for you to still do practice drills?
So you always gotta go over your what you started out with. So started out with all the basic training and stuff like that, and you always need to go over it because sometimes you get complacent and you forget some of the stuff that you've worked on, and you have to go over that a good bit.
You will hear from them the main techniques they were working on. I will also point out many of the other techniques they were doing automatically. They have developed these skills by working on each technique through repetition. Besides doing motos and working on speed, they still do practice drills and practice sections at least 2 times a week. This way they can put extra focus on their weak points. I have said it many times before, and it is always worth repeating. Developing all the proper riding techniques is the foundation of speed and control. 2 of the practice drills that I have used since I started doing my motocross schools way back in 1985 are the circle drill and the oval drill. These 2 practice drills are excellent because they can isolate all the cornering techniques and practice them through repetition. You will see a third rider in these drills. This is Max, who has also been training with David Kilgore and has become friends with Luke and Gavin. The main techniques that Luke and Gavin were working on were keeping their hips and shoulders rotated into the corner, using more of an overgrip on the handle grips, also doing more of a doorknob grip on the handle grips, steering through the corner with the inside hand, and looking a little further ahead. Yes, even for these top amateur riders, they still need to train themselves to look further ahead. They practice all these weak points, stay focused on them, make sure they are reprogramming these skills deeper and deeper into their automatic, natural riding style. The practice strategies with the circle drill is to control smooth momentum. This is done with the proper body positions and movements and throttle control. When there are ruts, the front brake should also be used. By doing this, we can identify and correct any weak points they may have. I will point out how they are correcting their weak points. I will also point out some of the other techniques that they have already programmed into their natural riding style. Many of these skills are most likely still problem areas for you. Weak points for Luke and Gavin. Keeping their hips and shoulders rotated into the corner. Notice how Gavin's hips and shoulders are squared up with the direction he is turning. They are rotated into the corner a little. He is controlling the lean of the bike from these body positions. He is not pushing the handlebars over, which would cause his shoulders to rotate out of the corner, which is a common mistake. Notice how Luke has a high overgrip and is gripping the grips from the outside. This is how you would grab a doorknob to open a door. Pressure down on the inside handlebar. When front wheel steering through a corner, they keep a slight amount of pressure down on the inside handlebar. This is the amount of pressure you could apply with your little finger. This helps to keep the bike turning to the inside, looking further ahead. As I mentioned, they are also working on looking further ahead. In order to develop the skill of being able to look further ahead, which slows down motion, you need to find the best distance to look ahead. In most situations, it's likely to be just 3 to 5 feet further than you would normally look. In faster sections, it may be just 10 to 15 feet more. Of course, this distance has to move with you as you move. Some of the other cornering techniques that these riders have already mastered that are ideal for the circle drill are sitting on the front part of the seat, sitting on the outside edge of the seat, working from the central location, which is head over handlebars, hugging the bike with your knees, weighting the outside foot peg with 10% of your strength, keeping your inside foot up and out in front of you. Good, smooth throttle control. Also, when the corner is rutted, good, smooth front brake and throttle control. After the circle drill, the oval drill brings a lot more techniques into play. This is because there is a straightaway between each corner. Obviously, this means picking up speed on the straights. This increase in speed makes controlling the brakes a major addition. When the track is smooth, as it is here, you should sit until you shut off the throttle and begin braking. Since they are carrying speed, it's safer and more efficient to stand while beginning to brake. Not only stand, but stand with their body weight back. This is to offset the braking force. Otherwise, all the weight would be on the front tire, which would obviously take away much of your control. These advanced riders are braking hard enough with the rear brake to drift slide a little into the corner. They leave the clutch out while braking at speed. When doing this, they can use the front brake as hard as necessary because the front wheel is counter-steering, tracking straight, and will not slide out. When they get a quarter of the way into the corner, they transfer from standing to sitting. But that doesn't mean that they let go of the rear brake. They need to continue controlling the brakes until they are at the transition of the corner. And what you just saw is Gavin sitting too late into this corner. When it's smooth, he should have sat down earlier and continued to control the rear brake to the transition. The only time you need to stand up all the way until the transition is when it's rough. Up until the transition of the corner, they should be sitting on the front part of the seat, but keeping their upper body back a little. This is because they are still braking. The transition is where they go from braking to accelerating. Now they are controlling the clutch and throttle to exit the corner. At the transition, their upper body should be leaning a little forward. A good reference is that their head should be over the handlebars. Then, as they begin to exit the corner, their head should be in front of the handlebars. In a left-hand corner, as they release the rear brake, they begin weighting the outside foot peg in order to lower the center of gravity. This also helps to get their head more forward over the handlebars. In a right-hand corner, as they come off the rear brake, they put their inside foot out for the corner. Of course, this entire time, they are controlling the front brake as well. Exiting the corner. Towards the end of the transition, as they begin to release the brakes, they transfer to using the clutch and throttle to control their exit speed. This is the most critical part of the corner. There is a lot going on here because they have been using the brakes for most of their control. Now, all of a sudden, they have to use the clutch and throttle for most of their control. The rest of their control comes from their body positions and movements. They have been drift sliding into the corner, carrying a lot of speed. How do they maintain that speed and begin to build more speed at this critical transition? It all starts with delivering the right amount of power to the rear wheel with split-second timing. That's why they have to use the clutch and throttle. They have to deliver the proper amount of power with split-second timing. The throttle alone could not do it. All right, man, good job out there. You guys look good. Practicing certain things, right, to be aware of. Weighting that inside handlebar through the corners. How does that work for you since you've been practicing that?
Well, it helps you steer the bike coming in and out of the turn. And then also you weight your outside foot peg to help you slide. And then leaning forward also helps you loosen up the back end of the bike and helps you steer with the more the back end of the bike and helps you come out of the corner a little bit faster. And then also personally, I've been working on trying to not pivot my shoulder out when coming into the corner. And then looking ahead is always one I need to work on too, and stuff like that. So.
And how about your hands on the handle grips? You guys been working on keeping a little bit of a higher over grip?
Yeah, we've been kind of coming in and having more of our throttle hand down a little bit. So we've been working on coming into the corner and over gripping and then accelerating and not having your arm down as far like chicken wing. Good. How about you, Luke? Is it all about the same for you?
Yeah, just about the same. My personal stuff that I've been working on is my eyes and looking forward.
Okay. When they finished working on their weak points on the circle and oval drill, they did the same on sections. Then it was time to wash and work on their bikes, because tomorrow would be Moto Day. Here's a few clips from this Moto Day. harder you work, the harder it is to surrender.